So today we're taking a closer look at everything we know so far about Star Trek IV with Chris Pine and where things actually stand with this long-awaited film. And buckle up because it's been a wild ride and we're finally tying together the threads. So first, let's reset the table. The fourth installment in the Kelvin Timeline franchise, often referred to as Star Trek IV, has been in development since, well, before the third reboot film, Star Trek Beyond, even premiered. Back in 2015, while the new films were still being promoted, Paramount renegotiated contracts to bring Chris Pine and Zachary Quinto back for a follow-up with J.J. Abrams' production company Bad Robot at the helm. Now, early plans even included Chris Hemsworth reprising his role as George Kirk from the first reboot's prologue. And then, well, Tarantino happened. By the end of 2017, Quentin Tarantino had stepped into the conversation with his own version for a standalone Star Trek film. He pitched a bold and gritty concept that would have carried his unmistakable style, and Paramount even set up a writer's room to develop the idea further. For a while it seemed like the project, well, it might actually happen. However, Tarantino eventually decided not to direct, and the concept, well, it slowly faded into the background. And then came the other directors, because you see, at the same time, Paramount was developing the main fourth film in the series with S.J. Clarkson set to direct and J.D. Payne and Patrick McKay writing the script. The plan was to reunite Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth on screen, bringing Kirk and his father together in a story that fans, well, yeah, we were eager to see. Unfortunately, by 2018, negotiations with the two actors hit a wall. Reports suggested contract and budget disagreements were at the centre of the problem. Now, without the leads officially on board, momentum stalled. Carl Urban, who plays Dr. McCoy, even suggested they explore McCoy's family background as a way to add depth to the story, but that idea never gained traction. So by early 2019, the entire version had collapsed, leaving the project without a director, a script everyone agreed on, or a clear path forward. Then Noah Hawley stepped in during late 2019 with a completely new vision for the franchise. He planned to both write and direct a Star Trek film that would focus on brand new characters rather than the familiar crew. For a time, it looked like the project was gaining real momentum. Production was even close to starting in 2020, but before cameras ever rolled, the studio went through a major restructuring. New executives took charge, and with the shift in leadership, the direction of the film changed completely. Paramount eventually decided not to move forward with Hawley's version at all. After that project was shelved, there was a brief quiet period. Then in early 2021, Kalinda Vasquez, known for her work on Star Trek Discovery, was brought in to write another standalone script. That announcement stirred some excitement among fans, but as time went on, very little news followed. Then in early 2021, Kalinda Vasquez, known for her work on Star Trek Discovery, was brought in to write another standalone script. That announcement stirred some excitement among fans, but as time went on, very little news followed. It wasn't clear whether Paramount planned to pursue that version or if it would meet the same fate as previous attempts. By the middle of 2021, things seemed to be picking up again. Matt Shakman came aboard as director with the goal of bringing back Chris Pine and the rest of the Kelvin Timeline crew. The script writing team expanded to include Lindsay Beer and Geneva Robertson Drowett, and later Josh Friedman and Cameron Squires also joined the effort. With so many names attached, hopes began to rise once again. Pre-production soon began to ramp up, which was a great thing, and by early 2022 there was a sense that this time the film might actually happen. J.J. Abrams even confirmed publicly that the original cast would return, which sent fans into a frenzy. The film was finally back on track, but then in the middle of 2022 everything came crashing down. Matt Shakman left the project to direct Fantastic Four: First Steps. After his exit, the entire production lost momentum almost immediately. Shakman later revealed that sets had been built, stages were ready and crews were preparing to start. Yet once he departed, the whole operation, well, it was just shut down. The sets were dismantled, the crews were let go, and all the progress made up to that point vanished overnight. It wasn't until early 2024 that Star Trek IV resurfaced once again. Paramount officially announced that the film was back on their development slate, and this time they called it the final chapter of the Kelvin Timeline. Steve Yockey, best known for The Flight Attendant, along along with other genre projects, was hired to write a brand new script. At the same time, a completely separate film was revealed to be in the works. The second project was described as an origin story, and that would be written by Seth Grahame-Smith and directed by Toby Haynes, who gained attention for his work on Andor. Reports suggested that this origin story was actually further along in development than Star Trek IV itself. It might even be set decades before the events of the reboot films. Now, what no one knows yet is how the timelines of these two projects will line up. It's unclear whether the origin story will release first or if it will eventually connect to Steve Yockey's script. So, for now, both projects are moving along on parallel tracks, but fans have been left wondering which one will actually reach the screen first. Then came the Paramount Skydance merger and its impact. Oh, and most interesting bit of all, this entire period of development was unfolding while Paramount Global and Skydance Media were moving toward a major merger that began in the middle of 2024. Now that deal officially closed in August 2025, and when it did, a brand new leadership structure emerged under David Ellison. This leadership change matters a lot because it could decide whether Star Trek IV finally gets made or it stays in limbo. Simon Pegg recently spoke at a Star Trek convention and gave fans a reason to hope. He pointed out that Ellison is not just a studio executive, he is a genuine Star Trek fan. Yay! Pegg said that might be exactly what the franchise needs. He even suggested that the story could pick up 10 years after the original 5-year mission. Now that kind of time jump would give the film a chance to explore how the characters have grown older and wiser while still giving fans the nostalgia they want. Now this kind of optimism is new because the years leading up to it were filled with silence, uncertainty, and loads of dead ends. The cast, however, has always made it clear that they want to come back. Back in early 2022, J.J. Abrams publicly confirmed that the original cast was expected to return. Even then, no official contracts had been signed. Chris Pine said in late 2023 that he had not read a script and did not know any details beyond what fans already knew. That does not mean he was against the idea, though. It just shows that things were not far enough along for him to be brought into the loop. Most of the other cast members have stayed quiet about where things stand. Still, there has always been excitement from the group. The one exception is Anton Yelchin's character, Pavel Chekhov, of course. After Yelchin's tragic passing in 2016, the filmmakers made it clear they would not recast the role. So, what does the bigger picture look like? The last theatrical Star Trek film was Star Trek Beyond back in 2016. Since then, fans have watched several attempts at Star Trek IV Rise and Fall. Tarantino had a version, Noah Hawley had a version, Matt Shakman nearly got one off the ground, and every single one of them collapsed because of changing studio priorities, executive shakeups, or scheduling conflicts. Now things seem better aligned than before. A new script by Steve Yockey is in development, the studio leadership is clearly more enthusiastic, and the cast wants to be involved. The pieces are there, but big steps are still missing. There's no director signed off, there's no shooting schedule, there is no release date. Until those things are in place, the movie exists only as a plan and not a production. The franchise itself is still alive in other ways, though. The upcoming Origin film could offer a fresh start for Star Trek on the big screen. Television projects like Strange New Worlds, the Section 31 movie, and the future Starfleet Academy series keep the brand alive and experiment with tone and storytelling. But for fans of the Kelvin Timeline, the real dream is one more film with Chris Pine's Kirk, Zachary Quinto's Spock, Zoe Saldana's Uhura, Simon Pegg's Scotty, and the rest of the crew back together again. Right now, Star Trek IV has a script, a willing cast, and a studio that finally seems ready to make it happen. It has survived years of false starts and abandoned versions. The leadership is in place, the interest is there, but until cameras start rolling, the film remains a promise rather than a reality. So thanks for sticking with me through this breakdown. I will keep following every update and share news the moment something official happens. In the meantime, tell me what you would like to see in this final Kelvin Timeline story. Should it jump forward in time, or should it bring a completely new kind of story to the big screen? Let us know down below in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I guess what I've got to tell you, live long and prosper, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. See ya. Bye.